impacts of colonialism are profound and enduring, spanning severe economic exploitation, cultural erasure, and systemic racism. While it introduced certain infrastructures and technologies, these benefits primarily served extractive colonial objectives, leaving former colonies with systemic underdevelopment, degraded environments, and lasting socio-political inequities. The extensive impact of colonialism operates across several main categories: economic exploitation and inequality. Imperial powers structured colonies to export raw materials to the global north while importing finished goods. This resulted in long-term economic underdevelopment, dependency, and the wealth gap that still exists today. Cultural erasure and social upheaval. Colonizers frequently imposed their own languages, religions, and legal systems while suppressing or destroying indigenous traditions and knowledge systems. Environmental degradation, resource extraction, deforestation, and the introduction of monoculture plantations severely damaged ecosystems and left a legacy of polluted lands and exhausted soils. Systemic racism and discrimination. The practice of racial hierarchy used to justify colonization persists today in the form of racial profiling, social inequality, and xenophobia. Political borders and conflict. Arbitrary borders drawn by colonial powers often ignored ethnic and cultural realities, leading to decades of civil conflict and political instability. In the post-colonial era, modern exploitation. The legacy continues through neo-colonialism, where multinational corporations or wealthier nations export environmental waste and disproportionately dominate global trade to the detriment of local populations. The effects of colonialism are vast, complex, and deeply embedded in the modern global structure. While early historical narratives often focused on infrastructure or trade networks, contemporary consensus across bodies like the United Nations Human Rights Office, HR, recognizes that the legacies of colonialism primarily manifest as systemic inequities, economic underdevelopment, and cultural disruption. The impacts of colonial rule can be analyzed across four main dimensions: economic exploitation and underdevelopment, resource extraction. Imperial powers designed colonial economies strictly to export raw materials, for example, minerals, rubber, agriculture, to the metropole, preventing local industrialization. The slave trade, the forced displacement and enslavement of millions of people, particularly from Central and West Africa, shattered local demographic structures and generated immense capital that enriched European empires at the expense of local development. Enforced dependency. Post-independence nations were left with dual economies. They possessed modern infrastructure only where it served extraction routes, leaving the rest of the domestic economy fractured and reliant on foreign markets.